this is Sims, and we're back with more Men of Yoshiwara, Ohgiya, and we should be getting our ending today with Utsusemi. What did I say? We're at likability 77%, so that's not bad. I think we're doing good. I will probably say, as long as we keep doing good, we should probably get our, because I think you have to get at least 80 to get your super happy ending, and then whatever. But we'll find out. We'll find out today which one we get, because we are in the middle of chapter 9. And then we just have chapter 10, so we have 1.5, and we can usually get through about 2 chapters, so we should be able to finish this today. So, all right, let's go. Woo! Anyway, but dun dun dun. Even after we had returned to our usual red room, we couldn't speak. We held each other, not saying a word. Those tears had soaked into our chests and muddied our hearts. Suddenly, Utsusemi bent his neck and whispered into my ear, "Am I doing the wrong thing?" His voice was so quiet, I thought I might not hear him if I didn't listen carefully. The grip of the arms around me grew tighter. Was Utsusemi wrong? Oh, God. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe? They're all like, okay. I don't know. Maybe. ... Literally my thought. I don't know. Maybe. All 3? Okay, was he wrong? Okay, I feel like not saying anything... Is not saying anything better or worse than saying, I don't know? You know what I mean? Because, like, I feel like not saying anything is like saying I don't know, but you're just not vocalizing it. Which, sometimes it could be like, sure. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes verbalizing your hesitance, I don't know, is worse than not saying anything. Should we say maybe? I don't know. I don't know. This one's hard. It would have been easier if it was like, yes, no. Like, okay, then we'd be like, no, not at all. Maybe. If he's debating if he did the right thing or not, then maybe saying maybe... You know what? Just don't say anything. Don't say anything. It's probably like the worst freaking choice, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. Don't say anything. Don't get yourself in a bind. Don't say anything. I couldn't answer his question. I couldn't bear the thought of parting with him. I guess this is something I have to find the answer to myself. I'm sorry. I just don't know. Okay, so if we had said I don't know, we might have gotten here. Okay, so maybe we chose something. Well, I wonder what would have happened if we said maybe. Silence fell again. Was the moon lighting up the night with its pale light right now? I wished it could also light up the unseen path that we were about to take. If it was going to make someone cry, then maybe that wasn't the right road after all. Utsusemi, Yes? He heard my hesitant words and looked into my eyes. The truth is, I was horrified listening to you talk earlier. What? About how, if you went to the mainland, I'd never see you again. Normally, any parent would want to hide the fact that their son was a courtesan. But it's necessary for this island to survive, right? Yes, and that's true for this island. But this island isn't normal. It made me scared. I realized that the only thing I had been thinking about was his happiness. You know what they could just do? Instead of sending every single man born here into, like, Whoretown, they could literally just try to make it more appealing for men to come to the island. You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's incentives to come live on this island because cheaper real estate, or you could start your own business. Like, draw people here. I mean... You kind of need some fresh blood, because I'm assuming it's something kind of fucked up in your DNA that is making it men aren't born here. Or maybe just abandon the fucking island together. Just be like, hey, let's all just leave. Because this is clearly like some kind of fucked up shit on this island why boys aren't born here, but they're born everywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, the island is the problem, and nobody is thinking of a proper solution. Like, either draw more men to the island, you know? Like, incentives to come to the island, you know? Like, tax breaks for companies to get them to come into your city, you know? That's what they do. Like, incentives for men to show up. 2 wives for every man. I don't know. Turn it into fucking Utah. I don't know. Figure something else. Or literally pack your bags and fucking move. I don't know. Like, I'm assuming, though, even if you got a bunch of men to come to the island, the problem would still persist because there's some kind of weird-ass fucking radiation on this shit, and maybe you should fucking leave. Maybe you shouldn't have made your home on Radiation Island. I don't know, but I'm just saying there's solutions that isn't sex slavery. Like, right? Well, anyway. I realized that the only thing I had been thinking about was his happiness. So I hadn't thought about what would happen after he had left the island and rejoined his family. Not least because I just hadn't wanted to think about that. He'll probably look down on me for saying this. I took his hand, wondering if I should continue. Please, tell me, Spacey. I've always wanted you to be happy. But just now, you said you wanted to be with me even if it meant abandoning your happiness. That made me so happy, even knowing that my existence might be a burden on you. His embrace grew tighter. A burden? How can you say that? I only spoke my true feelings. But it's my fault. It's not something you have to worry about. Being together with you makes me so happy. This is so cruel. Spacey. Utsusemi grabbed the hand I had been using to stifle my cries. It's not just you. It's as Ohgiya said. I'm a cunning, deceitful man. But I wouldn't be able to survive if I weren't. Spacey. He stroked my cheek and brought his face close. He spoke, his face so close to mine we breathed the same air. While I'm being unfair, please let me say one thing. Right now, I want you. Utsusemi, is it okay for me to make you the reason I stay on this island? Is that really what you want? Regardless of the crimes he had to commit, despite casting aside the family he deserved to have, even though it meant making someone cry for his own good, I don't mind, as long as I can have you. For me. We looked straight at each other, and then I put my lips on his. There was a fleeting taste of tears. You really are no fair, Utsusemi. He heard my words and grinned broadly. It was a strange smile. It was neither happy nor sad. A smile like we were about to fall into hell together. The two of us are going down a path of no return. It was that kind of smile. Do you hate this side of me? No, I love it. I love you because of it. You're just the kind of person I thought you were after all. I gently tilted my head and closed my eyes. Please, make me your woman. I just love the way she says that. That's so great. Make me your woman. Oh, hi. Whoa. Yes, Spacey. A fire burned in my cheeks at his soft whisper. I had no regrets. If this was a flower that would only bloom once in my life, this person was who I wanted. Spacey. He called my name again. Beautiful cherry blossom petals danced on my bare chest. Oh, Utsusemi. Harder. This one's gonna be so much worse than the other one. Oh, harder. Oh, God. Why do I do this? Like, I love these games, but I swear to God, they're so embarrassing. Yes, Spacey. Don't ever leave me. I won't, Spacey. Spacey. His voice echoed through my heart and shook my soul. Also, naming the character Spacey just really is so fucking embarrassing. His fingertips brought a woman out of me. His fingertips brought a woman out of me. A woman out of me? Wait, what? 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 I'm not even 100% sure what you meant by that because it's really that unclear. Like, his fingertips brought a moan out of me makes sense. Turned me into a woman? Like, made a woman out of me? think that's how it works either. But okay, I just... Do with that what you will. Oh, I felt another twinge of pain in my chest. So this is love. Something that makes my chest hurt like this. Well, something else is about to hurt. For the sake of someone we love, flames of jealousy will occasionally burn. We can become deceitful in order to survive, and our hearts grow wet with tears. Love is something that burns up my body and soul. And even so, I wanted to love this person. I wanted to do so badly. And so, we were joined together that night. I'm sorry, but I think the best and the worst thing I've ever had to read is, oh, Utsusemi, harder. Which is, what? Jesus! I don't even think he was fucking her at that point. It was just, And then he brought a woman out of her. Oh, God. Sometimes the translations are a train wreck, and that was kind of one of them. But it was amazing and terrifying, and I don't even know, but wow. Anyway. I continued to see him as the days went by. Those sweet days numbered our hearts like some mysterious potion from the mainland. But still, time flowed on. That day, the day when Ohgiya would leave and go to Utsusemiya, was fast approaching. Yeah, but we got to see the oh. Are we going to get that, CG? That day, I visited the brothel, and we immediately went to the bedroom. It was amazing to think that our lives had become such utter chaos in these few short days. Come to think of it, tomorrow is finally the day of your procession. I hope we see him in the robe. It is, Spacey. And once that's over, Ohgiya... Utsusemi, who had been scattering pink flowers over my body, stilled his lips. I could feel him gently place his head on my chest. I held him close to my chest and kissed his forehead. I'm looking forward to your procession, but I have a lot of other emotions, too. Just as I spoke my mind, there was an uproar from outside the room. Utsusemi! Utsusemi, there's trouble! Huh? What is it? We're in the middle of something here. Utsusemi put a coat on me and pulled open the door an inch. There's been another murder. A murder? Another? You mean it's happened before, too? You didn't know? The servant's already wide eyes grew even wider, and Utsusemi squinted awkwardly. Come to think of it, I've been out of the loop when it comes to society lately. Tomorrow would be his procession and Ohgiya's release. Oh God, it's not Ohgiya, is it? With that on top of our day... With that, on top of our day-to-day relationship as husband and wife, the world had become small. What's going on outside? They didn't hurt him, did they? I mean, he actually was attacked in Kikuya, wasn't he? But like, oh my God. At around 7, Tokiwa from Kikuya was attacked. You said a murder! At the assembly just now, it was decided that all processions are canceled for the time being. You said a murder! Tokiwa better not be dead! So, tomorrow's procession is canceled? The words that spilled from Utsusemi's mouth echoed in the dimly lit room. Aww. Lamentation. The next day, Utsusemi's procession had been canceled because of the killing. Are you trying to tell me that Tokiwa's dead? I hope he was attacked and a servant got killed. You don't kill him. Okay, this is the most traumatic and horrible thing to happen in this. I mean, you thought Yoko being a concake was severe. You just killed Tokiwa. They better not have. But the plan to send Ohgiya to Utsusemiya as its heir was in its final stages. The Utsusemiya owners were coming to Ohgiya again today. Kakuto had arranged for me to stay at Ohgiya as well, in order to persuade Ohgiya to go. Ohgiya, I'm begging you. And can't you please just agree to go along with this? No matter what you think about it, the owner's already made up his mind. The thing is you're going to be way worse off if you stay. Please, let me and Spacey be together. Don't be so insensitive. Ohgiya... I gently took the silent Ohgiya's hand in his lap. but the boy just clenched his fist, unmoving. You're really not going to give in, are you? Utsusemi looked at me and shook his head, looking exasperated. It's not long until noon. When I'd looked up at the sun in the garden earlier, it was already right overhead. We've gone ahead and made him a fake stomach wound with makeup. Utsusemi's gaze fell on the wooden tag and dagger on the table. I was like, we made him a fake wound by stabbing him. I mean... Just then, a voice came from the other side of the door. They're here. I'm hoping everything is ready here. I'll go in first and get the conversation going. Utsusemi winked at me and left with the owner. It was just Ohgiya and I left. Ohgiya took the wooden tag and put it around his neck, still silent. Ohgiya? I was surprised at his action. He smiled sadly. It's all right. Gakuto and Utsusemi are my sworn brothers. When the time comes, I'll do what I have to. He took the dagger and gave an endearing nod. But a faint shadow soon fell over his eyes. Still, there's no way I can agree with this. Even though I really do love Utsusemi. I'm so sorry, Ohgiya. You'd think I understand, but you'd think he'd be happy. We sat there in silence for a few moments, but he soon bravely stood up. You've done nothing to apologize for. All right, it's time for me to go. It'd be rude to keep them waiting. Right. Ohgiya then left the room. My feelings were in turmoil as I followed him, watching his small boyish back. Ohgiya and I went together to the room where the couple from Utsusemiya were waiting. Hello, my name is Ohgiya. Oh! Ohgiya introduced himself, and the couple stared wordlessly at his face. Utsusemi and the owner were already sitting in the room, having greeted the couple. So this time, for real, you're Yoshifumi? Yes, as you've heard, I am Yoshifumi. So then, this man, Utsusemi... I had him pretend to be me in my place. Isn't that right, Utsusemi? Yes. Ohgiya sat looking dignified. Utsusemi went silent. The owner, watching them from the corner of his eyes, rubbed his hands together and spoke. You see, there was a mix-up on our part when they were children. But even at that young age, Ohgiya here already seemed so refined. We secretly always thought something was different about him. Then what happened to the dagger? I have it here. Ohgiya took the dagger from his pocket and presented it to the couple. I was kidnapped and sold! You didn't think they sold the dagger too? I mean, seriously. We had to prove... obviously, he's like, oh, I have it right here to prove, but it's like... This does appear to be the Utsusemi that has been in our family for generations. Yoshifumi, let Mama get a better look at your face. Utsusemi's mother scooted closer to Ohgiya. Yes, Mother. Yes, looking up close, I feel like these are the same eyes as when he was young. Oh, this poor woman, I feel so bad for her. You know what it is, though? You want to be like, what a lying fucking bitch. But at the same time, her child was a baby and kidnapped. And people change so much, and she's probably desperately wanted her child back for so long that, like, she's going to convince herself, yeah, no, his eyes always were brown. And they were always green. You know what I mean? She's like, I always thought his eyes were blue, but no, I'm sure they were brown. I just misremembering. Because she so desperately just wants her son back. You know what I mean? So she'll convince herself, and that's sad. So there's a part of me that wants to be like, God damn it, bitch, you're full of shit. But at the same time, you're like, no, I can see why that would happen, so. A while later, Ohgiya and the couple from Utsusemiya talked about his kidnapping and other things. Well, now that you've finally been reunited, we'll let you be alone. The owner smiled and stood up. Let's be going, Utsusemi. Oh, yes, of course. We left Ohgiya with the couple and left the room. It's weird that I'd be allowed to go any of these places, but whatever. As soon as we were gone, the owner wiped the sweat from his brow with his sleeve. I was really worried for a minute there, but that Ohgiya actually did pretty good. I'll leave the rest to you. Yeah. The owner disappeared into the brothel, his mood bright. Utsusemi watched him with a frown. I know it isn't my place to judge, but I'm kind of feeling really disgusted right now. Yeah, I think I feel the same way. I wonder I wondered just what Ohgiya was feeling as he'd called that woman mother. I looked up at the sky, which was clear without a single cloud. The sight filled my chest once more with the same empty feeling. Soon after, we heard the faint sound of laughter from the tatami room, and the door opened, and Ohgiya stepped out. Ohgiya. Utsusemi looked at the boy's face and frowned with bated breath. But Ohgiya only briefly looked at Utsusemi and moved his gaze to the garden's pond. No one said a word. As the silence continued, we could hear the sounds of people busy inside the brothel. It was probably the courtesans setting up the shop for tonight. Ohgiya finally spoke, breaking the long silence. Utsusemi. Utsusemi and I slowly turned our heads toward his voice. Those people, when they saw the fake scar, they were totally fooled. They thought I was their real son. That went well then. Yes, it's almost like this is the first time I've ever lied. Even after how hard it was to trick customers as a courtesan. Funny, huh? Ohgiya continued disinterestedly, his voice nearly too quiet to hear over the wind. Even the owner changed his attitude toward me again, acting so nice. I feel like I don't know anything anymore. I had no idea that even outside of this district, the world was so full of lies and trickery. Don't say such sad things, Ohgiya. His small head nodded. I know. In the red light district that Gakuto and Utsusemi showed me when I was little, there was more beauty and more hope. I'm so sorry, Ohgiya. When Utsusemi finally opened his mouth, what came out was an apology. But Ohgiya was no longer crying, nor was he angry. He just quietly listened and looked at the sky. It's okay now. I couldn't make a good living here anyway. Hearing Ohgiya's slightly trembling words, Utsusemi looked up. Then, as for your release, I don't like this plan, and I don't feel like forgiving you. But you and Gakuto and Spacey and everyone else is so deceitful. So I've decided to learn from your example and toughen up. I'm going to be happier than anyone on this island. When I looked at Ohgiya just then, I felt like I was about to cry. Good! You take that I'm so angry at you for making me lie that I'm going to go live your life and be happy while you're stuck here. Good for you! That's what we wanted for you. His eyes were as clear as the blue sky. A sad but beautiful smile was on his lips. So please, don't say anything else. Those people, they looked at me with eyes as kind as yours and Gakuto's. So I'm fine. Small tears were swimming in Ohgiya's eyes as he looked up at the distant sky. Overcome with emotion, I said, You've grown up. I'm sorry. Let's all be happy. Let's all be happy, okay? If we couldn't all live in the same place, we had to at least search each of us for our own happiness. Yes, you and Utsusemi too, right? If you two don't find happiness yourselves, I'll come back and haunt you. Ohgiya wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and smiled. Utsusemi watched him, then quietly wiped his own eyes. After a slight pause, the door to the room slowly opened. The couple from Utsusemi looked at Ohgiya and smiled. Ohgiya's face lit up and he ran over to them. Well then, we'll return tomorrow to take you home officially. There must be people here who took care of you. Surely you want to say goodbye. Yes, Father, Mother. At least from where I watched a short distance away, I felt no awkwardness between them. I'm impressed. It looks like everything's gonna go great. Utsusemi spoke, not to anyone in particular. There were only a few feet between us and them, but I felt the actual distance between us was much, much larger. The sun was low in the sky as we saw them off from the brothel. It was about the time for this city to change into another world. The couple, Utsusemi's parents, left the red light district without waiting for that change. I'm really hoping Tokiwa's not dead. I'm still thinking about that in the back of my mind, and I'm trying to think in the back of my mind as I'm reading that, in Kikuya, he was attacked, but didn't someone, I thought he got attacked. But maybe an attendant was murdered? He wasn't the one that was murdered, it was somebody else. So maybe this is kind of just following along in the technically the same time frame. So we're here visiting the brothel and Tokiwa's getting attacked technically when it happened in Kikuya, because I feel like it did happen in Kikuya. There were attacks or whatever, but I don't... But Tokiwa didn't die. I don't even know if he actually got hurt. So I'm just going to pretend it's not him. But I don't like how they left it like that, like you're supposed to remember. Because I don't really remember, but also they leave it, and if you didn't play Kakuya, you're like, that guy died? And then you'd go play it, and you'd be like, wait, is he gonna die? Like, you can't do that shit to me, game. Rude. I'm sorry. Anyway. Utsusemi stood as if frozen in place, watching them go. The rose-red sun was painful to look at. Was the man I loved always that small? Goodbye. His quiet voice sounded like that of a small child. Is he saying goodbye to them, not me, right? Okay. I clicked again. It's like it went black and it didn't come back. When the couple was completely out of sight, Utsusemi slowly turned towards me. Oh, he was saying goodbye to them. That's so sad. He's like, bye, Mom and Dad. It's a little sad. I'll walk you home, Spacey. Okay, thanks. He spoke casually, sounding like his usual self. I nodded my head and he took my hand. We walked the main street together as the sun set, his large hand pulling me along. How about we take a little detour on the way? Can we? I think the owner will overlook it today. Okay then, just for a little bit. Utsusemi grinned happily. It looked strangely like the grin of a young boy. Finally, I saw a red gate on the side of the road. We were at Yoshiwara's Inari shrine. This brings back memories. This is where I showed you the horseback archery. Do you remember? Yeah. Even now, that moment was burned into my memory. I had been captivated by the sight of him riding the horse like a gust of wind and firing his bow. When I smiled, reminiscing, he quietly laughed. That feels like so long ago. And to tell you the truth, my legs were shaking right up until I got on the horse. You're joking. Of course not. I may look relatively brave, but I really had to steel myself. But your archery really was wonderful. It made me feel like I had to see you again. Yeah, I was so happy you came to the brothel that night. His cheerful laughter echoed in the red sky. And that night was the first time we... Please don't say it. It's embarrassing. Kissed? Is it? And the smile on your face was so cute. Or the first night we weren't husband and wife that night. Was that? No, maybe that was. Was that our third? Or that was our first private time together. No, we went and saw him. That was our third night. Our second night was after Gakuto made the thing, was gonna have his kimono made for him or whatever. And then we went, and that's when and then he said, come to the archery. So the archery was that was when we got married. Yeah, but that was the first time don't say it, it's embarrassing. Spent the night together, but we didn't have sex, so it's not like, anyway. Oh, jeez. His laughter was contagious, and a smile started to form on my lips. When I thought about it, we had all sorts of conversations in such a short time. I had opened my heart to him. It was hard to believe I had been so nervous at first. Spacey. His muscular arm slowly wrapped itself around my shoulder. I'm so glad I met you. Even if I've had to trick people and make them cry. I could say for sure that falling in love with you was the one thing that was definitely right. Yes, I have no regrets either. I spoke slowly and leaned into his body. The sun finally dyed the ridge of the mountains red and burned into my eyes. An unspeakable sadness suddenly crept into my heart. Even though the man I loved was by my side, holding me tight. You love me, right? Utsusemi... Spacey... We stopped reminiscing and looked into each other's eyes. The arms of the man I loved hugged me even tighter. I could feel his lips on the back of my neck. They seemed to be telling me something. I knew I had to ask him again. Before the sun set and everything turned to dusk. Utsusemi... Is this really... truly what you wanted? I spoke, my lips quivering. His eyes suddenly looked above me. His reddish-brown eyes reflected the setting sun and burned as red as blood. Please don't hide behind kindness and deception, and tell me how you really feel. Once more my fingers reached out to touch his heart. A small fragment small fragment quivered in his eyes. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to get me to ask myself that question again, right here and now? Yes, I am. You always speak with such kindness, but even though you say you've decided, I've never heard you say it from your heart. I have more than enough. I've already told you many times. You're lying. If that's true, then why are you always holding back tears? I feel so sorry for you. And for all the crying people around you, too. My eyes burned and my voice and fingers trembled. A crevice split open in my heart. Why are you only kind to other people? Because I have no choice. His nails dug into my shoulders. I don't want anyone to hate me. I want to mean something to someone. Utsusemi. His words started to flow like a dam broken open. I always thought I had been abandoned. I had nothing and I didn't even know my own value. And so I've always lived trying to be loved by others. I'm always cheerful, always smiling, always trying to entertain people. But even to be told now I was wrong, it's too late. I don't even know who I really am or what I want anymore. I've been living like this for close to 20 years. I can't change now. Tears gently fell from both of his eyes. They were the vibrant tears of a heart that had been stifled. You're crying. No, I'm not. Tears are just falling from my eyes. Fucking love it. Oh. I'm sorry, that just wins me right there. I love him a little bit for that. Like, no, I'm not. Tears are just coming out of my eyes, but I'm not crying. I love it. I'm sorry for making you say all that. This man who'd always cried while keeping his sadness locked up in his heart was now crying aloud in front of me. I'm sorry for making you say such painful things, such sad things. I'm so sorry. I put my face on his chest and gently held his trembling chest. Okay, that makes sense. Aww. It's true. I really am sad. Even me. I really do want Ohgiya to be happy. But I too wanted to be able to say I was their son. That I wasn't abandoned. Yes, that's right. They really loved you. They always loved you and they were looking for you. Yes, and that's enough for me. I found out the thing I wanted to know all my life. An uncontrollable sobbing reached my ears. I could feel the cries of his heart in my body wrapped in his. He took a deep, trembling breath, and the arms around me grew tighter. That's why I want to walk a new path with the one I've chosen to love. I want to live with you. You who've said you could love even a deceitful man like me. Yes, Utsusemi. I'll go anywhere with you. I love you. I won't abandon you. Spacey. What? Oh. That lamentation. Bottled up for 20 years. It was all coming out right now in his cries. The tears did not stop until the sun had completely sunk behind the mountains. That's so adorably sad. Oh. The next day, the cherry blossoms that fell in Yoshiwara were terribly beautiful that day. The wind shook the magnificent cherry trees and the sky danced with pink. It seemed a last reluctant goodbye. Gakuto, Utsusemi, thank you for everything. Of course. And take care of yourself. God, this man is so fine. Find happiness in my place. I will. As Ohgiya bowed, a voice called out, "Oh, we're leaving you, Shifumi!" Have you said your goodbyes? Yes, Mother. Yes, Father. Ohgiya turned his back to us. The three of them started walking towards the gate. Today, Ohgiya would go from being a prisoner of Yoshiwara to a regular person. He looked at us for just a moment and didn't look back again. As for Utsusemi, he looked at the outside world, even after the three had grown smaller and disappeared. But his gaze was as clear as the autumn sky. I said, "Are you ready to go back?" Nothing. You don't want to go after them? Why would you say that? Don't you want to chase them down and tell them you lied? Yeah, actually I do. Don't let him question it. So I suppose if we're going to say something, it's not don't you want to go after them. Well, let's go back to our home. Yes, Spacey. Will you be back tonight? Of course. We're married, aren't we? We went back inside the high walls. From now on, he would continue to live on this island, so far away from the mainland. As a man of Yoshiwara. As the only man I love. I didn't know if this life was right or wrong, but from now on, I vowed in my heart to stay ever at his side. Okay, so the last chapter's celebrations. Oh, wait. Do we get the last chapter and then we get our ending? Or is this our... Oh. Okay, no, all right. Ooh, maybe, well, we'll see. I don't know. This might not be our ending. This might be a chapter and then we get our ending. I didn't think of that. I don't remember seeing that in the thing. Anyway, 1 month later, I had headed to the back room of the house as my mother and I had previously arranged. My mother sat looking more stern than usual. There was a crushing tension in my chest, but when I looked behind me, there was Musashi, the man who had watched over me since I was young. He made me feel stronger. I took a deep breath and returned my mother's gaze. Spacey, today I officially hand over all of the Some household to you as its new leader. I'm leaving the Some name in your hands. Yes, Mother, I humbly accept. Still on my knees, I bowed my head low. As of today, I would become the head of the Some family. I would have been lying if I said I wasn't nervous. But according to some long-term plan, I had to inherit the family name. After the transfer had officially been completed, I called for a ride and headed to Yoshiwara. I had to tell him, the man I loved, everything. When I arrived at the brothel, I'm really hoping that in our happy ending, he's free. Because that makes sense, but it'd be so funny if in one of them it was like, nope, we just continue seeing the man we love at the brothel for the rest of eternity. When I arrived at the brothel, Utsusemi was getting ready for a procession. I hope we get to see it. Servants were busily running to and fro in front of his room. The murderer who had rocked Yoshiwara had been caught and processions had resumed. Utsusemi, I'm sorry to bother you when you're so busy. Spacey, it's fine. Utsusemi sent the servant who was attending to him away and turned to face me. More importantly, how are things at home? I've received my inheritance as the head of the family. Wow, that's great. And then that means, yes, everything is in order for your release. Oh, we bought him! Thank God for inheritances. See, people, this is why you leave an inheritance for your children, so they can buy the freedom of the person they love. You know, if you live on weird radioactive island where boars aren't born. I'm just saying. I spoke slowly, savoring the words. We looked into each other's eyes for a few moments. Then at the same time, we stepped together and kissed. Spacey, that's so sweet. We soon parted from our light kiss. See, and I mean, this makes sense because in the other one, we had to receive gifts from people that we helped escape. So we committed a crime to get gifts to be able to buy our lover's freedom. And in this one, we're able to buy his freedom because I have an inheritance and I'm the family. Like, I own the family now. So, like, I'm the Mafia Don. Well, is it Mafia Donna? Is that what it is? I don't know. Whatever. That's me. I run the fucking household. Bitch! I buy my whole man harem. All of you free for me now. What? I'm just saying. Like, they're gonna complain? Psh. I have a nice man harem empire. Anyway. Look, I just want my goddamn man harem, alright? We soon parted from our light kiss. Then our breaths softly overlapped as our lips met again. Our lips intertwined and our tongues traced their outline. Our kisses became so deep I thought I would melt. This was our little way of greeting every time we met. She says that like it's awkward or something. This is just our little way of greeting each other. A lot of people kiss when they, I mean, that are lovers, you know, but I'm just saying. Just a little longer. That's right, Spacey. In the blink of an eye, we'll be able to be together. Even when morning comes, our marriage vows will still last. Yes, the love we dreamed of will become a reality. My heart was so filled with joy. Next time, it was me who initiated the kiss. Utsusemi's arms held me even tighter than before. I peeked out from my closed eyelids and looked at him from up close. The man I love had the charm of a man who could overcome any obstacle. As for how things turned out like they have, after we parted with the Ohgiyas and Utsusemi's parents, every time we met we talked again and again about ourselves, about how to maintain our love and how Utsusemi could find happiness. In the end, what we decided was that Utsusemi would be released to marry into the Somei family. After we had kissed many times, he wiped my wet lips with the inside of his finger. There was a worried expression on his face. But can someone so young really take on that large of a responsibility? Originally, you weren't supposed to inherit for several more years, right? There certainly is a lot of pressure. Inheriting the Somei house and becoming its leader. This is exactly why I was brought up so harshly as a child. But the weight of the burden was greater than I had ever imagined. It's funny that our mother wouldn't be like, I'll buy your husband's freedom and then you take over in a couple of years. You know what I mean? Why she's like, well, I have to hand it over to you now so you can get your inheritance. Like, it's going to be your inheritance. Let's give you part of it now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Your mother could be like, as a birthday present, I bought you a husband. I'm just saying, there's other ways to go around this, but okay. Anyway. But this is me we're talking about. I'll be fine, because I'll have you with me. Yes, I'll never leave you alone. Then there's nothing to be afraid of. We just need to wait for everything to be finalized. You're as strong as ever. Not as strong as you. I smiled lightly and Utsusemi put his hands on both my shoulders, looking happy. He embraced me with his reliable arms, and the burden on my shoulders lightened. The man I loved would live by my side. Was there anything more reassuring than that? Utsusemi... Oh, that's the servant. Utsusemi, it's time. Oh, sorry. I lost track of time. The servant who had been waiting outside called to us, and Utsusemi beckoned him in. The servants came into the room, holding the clothing and makeup for the procession. He turned back to me and spoke in a dignified voice. I'll be waiting for my escort. Okay, it's a promise. Just hold on a little longer. I will. You too, Spacey. We could feel our love for each other just by looking into each other's eyes. My lips, only moments ago touching his, were still warm. Our fingers reluctantly parted. And then I left his side. A little while later, I hope the fuck we see him in his gorgeous fucking outfit. I can't wait. There was cheering from the crowd of people who were eagerly waiting outside the brothel. Utsusemi's procession had begun. I followed the parade and watched his ceremonial dance. The gathered spectators looked fondly at Utsusemi inside. And then there's going to be all these women who are like, oh my god, I want to have him. And it's like, you can't. He's being freed. We just paraded him around in front of you so you could oogle him and not be able to have him. That's kind of a cock-block tease, and I love it. Oh, how beautiful he is. He's just as handsome as Takao from Kikuya. When I looked up from their fiery gazes, my beloved man's figure had moved ahead of the parade and had grown small in the distance. But no matter how many passionate stares were directed his way, my heart was calm. Utsusemi. I quietly whispered his name. This would probably be his first and last procession. The great pleasure quarters, Yoshiwara. The men behind these walls in what's called another world can make women their prisoners in the blink of an eye. But how many tears and how much anguish is hidden within? Even so, the flame of life within the red light district always burns beautifully. The sight of my beloved in his finest clothes was firmly burned into my eyes. Please. Another month later. God damn it! I wanted to see that! I wanted that to be a CG! We don't get that? Ruins it. As I was waiting in my house, there was a procession down the main street downtown. The blue sky was perfectly clear. Utsusemi was coming to the Somei house as a groom. I awaited his arrival, unable to keep myself calm. Spacey, get a hold of yourself! The heiress of the Somei family must be composed at all times. Yes, mother. But be that as it may, the white sleeves of my kimono threw my heart into disarray. Finally, ma'am, Utsusemi's party has just arrived. Utsusemi, my heart suddenly started beating as loudly as an alarm bell. That man, the man I loved, was waiting just outside our house. Spacey, wait! Ignoring my mother, I dashed from the room. Improper or not, this heart of mine, it could not listen. Once I ran out of the house, Spacey! A sweet, familiar voice reached my ears. Standing there. Really? That's what we get for the CG? It's not a bad one. I just wanted to see the gorgeous fucking thing that we made for... We don't even get to see it. It's just like, oh, such a cock block. Man. This game just pulled a Yoko on us. Christ. was the man I loved, dressed in a formal robe. Utsusemi, you're finally here. I mean, it's still a cute CG, but I was just expecting, you know. I was so overcome with emotion, I was nearly in tears. We had met many times before, and not just for talk. We had woven our bodies together. So why was such heat welling up within my chest? What's with you, Spacey? Your beloved husband has come all this way to be adopted into your house. I know. I don't know what's gotten into me. When I saw you, I just couldn't stay calm any longer. Maybe it's because I've finally become your man and yours alone. That's right. You're not a courtesan. You're my husband as long as I live. Exactly. And I can't wait. Now that I've been adopted into your family, I'll labor wholeheartedly for your household. You're so selfless. I'm actually more worried you'll work too hard. I smiled and the emotions that had been in my heart flowed out. All the tears he's shed, and all the tears of those around him. This happiness we have now has been built upon top of all that. Utsusemi. Yep, right here. I smiled broadly at his earnest response. Let's find happiness together, okay? Yes, a greater happiness than anyone else in the world. We'll be so happy that Ohgiya and Gakuto will be jealous. Within his vivid smile was the weight of all he's overcome. I guess he'll be all right now. Even if tear-filled days come, there'll be tears that we shed together. Just as I made that vow in my heart. Miss, your mother is waiting to congratulate you. We'll be right there. I answered Musashi and reached for Utsusemi's hand. Welcome to the Some house. Thank you. I look forward to spending our lives here together. Yes, you and me together. We're a family now. When Utsusemi heard the word family, he narrowed his eyes. Today, he had let go of one life and bade welcome to a new one. We firmly held each other's hands. With that, Utsusemi went into the Some house. What lies ahead on the path we're walking is still a mystery. There will probably be times when we lose our way and times when tears are shed. But if the flame of love is lit within our hearts, I know that we'll make it just fine. Okay, so that was the super happy ending. All right, cool. So, okay, so, right, all right, cool. Oh, right, and we have the sequel and the date. I forgot about that. Okay, so what we'll do in the next part, obviously, is we'll do the other ending, and then we'll do our sequel and date scenario. But we'll check out our gallery right now. Oh, it's so beautiful. I like the CGs in this one. I mean, I feel like in Kikuya there were more CGs with the MC, and less that were just the boyfriendos. Well, then again, no, because she's in quite a few of them here, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, she's in 3 of these right here. I don't know, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there were... I don't know why I felt like there were less with her in them, but, like, right now, half of his CGs have her in them. So, like... Also, he doesn't seem to have... Didn't they have... I feel like they had more in Kikuya. CGs, because there's only... We only have 5. You have 4 in the game, and then you have the 1 from the ending. You know what I mean? Does that seem like a lot less? I feel like we had more. Honestly, like, I know we have this one where he's, like, staring and winking at us, but I actually really like this one better. For some reason. But at the same time, I love the look on his face in this one. Even though she's in it, I think this is my favorite. Like, the just him ones, which there's only 2 of, I don't know, they're both good. I think I like this one the favorite though, because like, look at it, look at his face. You're like, damn, you're being like a little slutty. I don't know, but anyway, so we're gonna leave it here. But yeah, so I have no problems with his route. I liked it. It was a good first one. I'm actually more curious now to go down Ohgiya's route and just see if in that Utsusemi's parents actually come and take him away. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of understand why it was set up the way it was in this, and there was so much of Ohgiya and Gakuto in this. Because even in Kikuya, it was the same way. You had Takao and Tokiwa always in each other's route, kind of fighting with each other. you know, Kageto was always in Kagura's route. Iroha was in fucking everybody's because he was the manager. You know what I mean? So they were kind of all... But it's funny in this, Takagawa and Asagiri were like never fucking mentioned. So I'm wondering if they'll probably be in each other's routes a little bit more. But I am curious if the whole thing with Utsusemi's parents was just for his route, or if that'll still happen in other routes, like his parents come type of a thing. I could see where they would do it, just because, you know, technically, right now as we're going, whatever route we're in, Kikuya is kind of happening. You know, you see them and you see all their stuff kind of going on, and like, and all of the stuff that's happening with them is still happening, you know, because it's like alternate realities. So in theory, Utsusemi's parents coming to find him would still happen, but then again, maybe not, because Yoko wouldn't be trying to compete with us for him. But then again, maybe Yoko would still show up, we'd take her there, she'd fall for Utsusemi, and then this would still happen for him, and he would go because he's not in love with us. You know what I mean? He'd be like, okay, cool. So I'm curious. But I could also see it not happening, because in a Geiha's route, they'd be like, who gives a shit what happens? And the only reason it happened in this one was because it's Utsusemi's parents, and you have to find a workaround for him to not go with them, which would be, oh, hey, Ohgiya has a breakdown, so we'll send him, and then everyone's happy, you know? So, I still feel like Ohgiya's going to have a breakdown in his own route. But even though I wasn't planning on doing him next, I'm tempted to. So, I've recorded this whole thing before the first part of this went up. So, I don't know what you guys have said about who you want to see possibly next, or if you have any favorites or anything. So I'm not sure when I'm going to start recording the next route. I'm trying, obviously, to try to balance this one and Nightshade at the same time, and like go back and forth and make sure I'm not too far ahead in one and like way behind on the other, or like having to do them both at the same time. I like recording a whole route of a game and then going and recording a whole route of another game, just to, so I'm not like in between, and like, because we know if it's a day between when I record or 2 days between, I'm always like, I don't remember what happened. So it's even harder if I'm a day or two between, because I was playing another game. So, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to record the next route of this before I do the next route that I have to record in Nightshade, or what. Just because, like Nightshade, I don't want to be too far ahead, just in case for some reason the videos get pulled. You know, if they do, I don't want it to be like what happened with Oz Mafia, where I had like 40 parts recorded, and then all of a sudden they all got yanked down, and I was like, I just spent like 20 fucking hours, because I was, I think, when we were doing half-hour parts, but I was like, 20 fucking hours recording this game for nothing. Like, that was kind of, that sucks, and I don't want to do that, you know what I mean? So I don't want to get too far ahead, and, I mean, I say waste time. I still want to play Nightshade, but I've never finished Oz Mafia because I couldn't record it. I'm still probably going to finish Nightshade, but I mean, I have plenty of time to do that on my own time, but I don't want to waste time where I could be recording on something that is not going to go up. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to work around that. So I don't know if I'm going to record the next route of this before, or start recording it before you guys start leaving like feedback and stuff. So just in case, if, you know, you're like, oh, I definitely want to see this person, and that's not the route I do next, it's probably because I started recording beforehand. I'm tempted to do a Ohgiya next, though, just because now we've kind of seen him in this, and now I'm curious what's going to happen in his route, and also kind of to get him out of the way, because I do like some of the other guys. Like, you know, Takagawa is kind of intriguing, and then we can save the better 3 for last. Although, Utsusemi wasn't bad. I wanted a good route to start with, but I didn't want my favorite route to start with, so that's why it was, I mean, it literally was between Utsusemi and Takagawa. Those were the two that I was like, okay, one of these two first. Because, like, I like them both, but I'm not as much as, like, I'm drawn to Asagiri and Gakuto. And I knew Ohgiya wasn't going to be first because he's the newbie. We don't go with the newbie first. We go with the, like, guy who knows what he's doing, right? But yeah, no. I did enjoy this route. Is he going to be my favorite? I don't know. We'll see. But I am pleasantly surprised that he's not as... He kind of comes off like he's the cocky guy, but he really isn't. Like, even though they've kind of compared him to Takao from Kikuya, he definitely doesn't have the same personality. Like, Takao was definitely like, I'm fucking awesome. You know I'm fucking awesome. I'm fucking awesome. Even though he was a little insecure underneath, I think. But no, Utsusemi definitely was like a little bit sweeter and nicer. But also, I liked the fact that, yeah, he's sweet and nice, but he's still a little bit like saying like, oh, I'm usually a little bit more forceful, but you're different. And then kind of being like, well, let's lie to my parents. Like, it's like a nice rounded person. I kind of like it. But he is kind of a sweetheart, but also like I have to make everybody love me because nobody loves me. Like, you poor thing. We all get that. It's sad. Like, yeah. Good route to start with, though. But anyway, I mean, we're not done because we still got to do the regular ending. You know, the good ending. Not the super great ending. We got to do our happy ending, and then we'll do the date and the sequel in the next part. So we have one more part of him, but yeah. So anyway, I don't know why I said all this, like, what we're going to do next when we still have to do his. But that's because this is technically the end. This was the happy ending. You don't have to watch anything else for his route, but obviously, I hope you do, because we've got the date and the sequel scenario, even if you don't want to just see the plain happy ending. But although the date and the sequel, one technically goes after the happy ending, and one technically follows more the path of the super happy ending, so it seems that way. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, so we'll finish him up in the next part, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.